as Caleb Love faces Duke one final time. Can anybody beat Duke?
First, you got to go to that BYU and Bama game. I think it's the first one to 100. It's that would be that would be must watch TV. That would be a hell of an offensive game. I mean,
Yes.
both of those teams. Uh, Duke has beaten Arizona early in the year in Arizona. I know that doesn't mean anything now. I think Duke is coming out of this region, but I think the best game of those two, it's BYU and Bama. I mean, this will look like an old NBA game. It could be 132, 130 at the end of this one. I'm looking forward to that. But no, I listen. Caleb Love played an amazing game. Put that team on his back. Came down early. Felt falling down about 15 early against Oregon. But I think beating the Blue Devils is going to be tough.
Yeah, I think they're too big, they're too physical, and they're too good defensively. What Duke is, and the fact that they won double figures earlier this season at their place, and it's going to be up there near you, Fanta, right? Like that might as well be Duke North up there sometimes. So I think Duke's defensive pressure. I think Sion James is one of the most underrated off-ball defenders in all of college basketball. He's that good at it. And they just have so many guys that they can just throw at you with size that, it's completely plausible that, if Caleb Love gets going, you could throw 4 different defenders at him at a given time. And they all kind of bring a different type of flavor to their matchup. Like you could throw Cooper at him, who's got a lot of length, really athletic. You could put Sion on him, who's a beast and strong as an ox. Tyrese Proctor, who might be a little smaller, a little quicker. And all of them that I just mentioned are 6'5" or up. So it's like, I think the Duke matchup is really tough on Arizona. And I think Duke's going to come out of this region. But I agree with RC. Like BYU, Alabama might be the best game of the tournament. It could end up being 102, 101, something like that in regulation. So it's going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of talent on both sides. I did a radio hit earlier, and they're like, well, we felt like Alabama's gotten lucky with some of their matchups. I was like, gotten lucky? Man, I don't know about that one. BYU is tough. They've got real NBA talent, and they've got old dudes on top of that. So this is going to be a really, really fun game.
Tio, I'll say this about Duke. I think, as you mentioned, their positional size, defensively, their versatility is good. They can put, arguably in every game they've played, and they play, 4 of the 5 best defenders can be on Duke's team.
Yeah.
With the lineup that they're capable of putting out there at times. And that's not including, I thought when Malik Brown was there, it gave them the versatility to switch 5 and have arguably the 5 best defenders on the floor. I think they can put 3 or 4 guys out there that can really lock you down. And I think collectively, they're the best shooting team in the tournament. I think other players, other teams have guys. I just think collectively, the amount of guys that they have from Knipple and just Elijah Evans. I mean, not Elijah, but Evans. Just so many different Isaiah Evans. So many different guys on their group that can just knock down shots and spread you out. I just think collectively, there's just too many guys. They're not relying on. All right, it's got to be Cooper, got to be the one guy knocking down shots. We talked about Proctor. We saw what he just did in the level. He's been shooting the lights out all year, over 40% from 3. So they're using their bench now. The injuries allowed those guys with Gamba being able to play, and it's just I just think they're going to have too many weapons on the offensive end of the floor with that defense.
You know what's interesting? Tommy Lloyd said with his Arizona team last night, we thrive in chaos. And sometimes I don't know exactly where it's going to go. But when I have Caleb Love and Jaden Bradley, and oh, by the way, I've got Tobe Awaka on the offensive glass, Awaka versus Kama Malawach is going to be physicality personified. But I do think, Terrence, I like Duke to win this game. But the Blue Devils are 270th in the country in tempo. And yet they have the nation's #1 offense. That's because they just methodically beat you down. Arizona is top 50. They're going to want this. They want to run up and down and try to speed Duke up. That, to me, T.O., is just – it's an interesting game, especially when you consider the fact that the last time Caleb Love met Duke in the NCAA tournament, he went for nearly 30 points and ended Mike Krzyzewski's career.
Right. Yep.
Just a different
And
defense, though.
Caleb Love can have that type of game. That's the scary part about it. I saw somebody put out a tweet that Caleb Love splits in his wins against Duke and his losses against Duke. And like they're substantial, like 20 percentage points difference in every category. He's the key to everything for them.
Different defense. 8 points in the
Different
first
defense.
meeting. Duke shuts you down offensively with the way that they guard, and that's just it. They're first in offense, RC. They're fourth in defense, and we often lead with their defense. That shows you how much of a wagon they are because they protect the rim and they never stop extending.